Welcome back to my podcast, Flowering into 5D. We are back for an immediate part two with Michelle. We got cut off last time, so let's literally pick it up where we left off.
Right
So,
back in, yeah.
so we were talking about just your PTSD, my BPD. I was talking about my diagnosis and how I got it, and did. So, yeah, I feel like I'm better than I've ever been.
Yeah. And I was going to ask Sam if what adaptations you've made to your life and surroundings. Like you talked about being challenged and feeling unstable in a career before, that kind of triggered this nervous breakdown of this feeling of deep unsafety.
Mm.
And I'm curious now as you're rebuilding yourself with this knowledge of your condition and your makeup and how you show up in the world, how that informs your lifestyle, your career, your mothering, like all of the things that you give and are.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. For a long time, I actually kind of masked the problem a little bit with cannabis. I basically just put myself on autopilot where I wasn't really feeling things as deeply as I knew I needed to, but I just kept this distance, and this kept me going for a long time. I felt things kind of on demand. It helped me slow down so that, like I said, I could feel things just kind of when I was ready to feel them. I didn't have to like
Yeah.
feel everything at once and have this huge um, influx of
Overload,
feelings.
overwhelm. Yeah.
Exactly, because my default, basically my whole life was overwhelm, over just overstimulation, over everything. So it
Mm.
really, to be honest with you, it really helped me kind of create that space and that distance so I could feel things when I was ready. But then as I grew into a grown up, I mean, into my 30s, like that, I realized that I wasn't using it in a healthy way. I was using it more to escape and take breaks from life, which for me, like, I don't want to be in a place where I want to take a break from my life. I just want to enjoy my life. And so that was one thing that kind of tipped me off that maybe I should stop doing that. And this is no judgment or disrespect to anybody who chooses to do that in their life. That's none of my business what people are doing. But for me, that's one thing that did help. But then it started to hinder, and I had to be honest with myself and cut that out. And
Yes. It was helpful until it wasn't.
exactly, exactly. And the other challenge was is that I actually based my identity off of it. It was like another layer that I had to come to be honest with myself and say, like, listen, you're not the cool stoner. Like you're Sam. You're not the cool stoner like. And that was really hard because, like I said, I kind of struggled with an identity or a lack of identity, and I wasn't really sure who I was. So I built this identity for myself, and then again, I had to kind of take it away, but just be more honest. And um, that mixed with spirituality and really just being in touch with the divine or God or whatever we want to call it, has really helped me a lot. And having proper nutrition, eating right. I want to say exercising, but I'm not exercising as much as I should. So I'm not going to pretend that I'm some everyday exerciser or something like that. But I think for me, more importantly, is eating healthily, which is not something that I did for a very long time. Uh,
Yeah, and that's how we first connected was I loved all your posts and hacks on what you should be putting into the body and kind of debunking a lot of things. Yeah, tons of great information.
oh, thank you, thank you. Um, I've always once I discovered how important nutrition was, and not just like ensure, like not just like one a day multivitamin nutrition, like proper nutrition and holistic health, it really blew me away, honestly, because I was that kid that grew up with Pop Tarts and Chef Boyardee and, microwave
Yeah, us
everything.
90s kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That was, and herbs, and like it just really like awakened something in me. Um, and yeah, like I feel really grateful that I came across all this information and fell in love with it in my 20s, and I didn't, you know, come across it in my 80s or something like that. I'm really grateful for that.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, I'm just curious, like, holistic healing for you is the modalities that you practice, EMDR and somatic therapy and Reiki healing. Is there any other things that you have brought into your life that have helped you, not just with your PTSD, but with life in general?
Um, yeah, so I think I want to shout about movement
Yeah.
and how natural it is to move our bodies um until it isn't. I used to dance as a girl. I used to love performing. For me, as an introvert, dance was my favorite way of expressing myself, more than language, song. Yeah, I always found movement very emotive. And then I had this blip where I couldn't enjoy it. I could
Mm,
not. And that was from this disconnection to the body. Uh, so now I think some medicine that I bring into our home, me, my daughter, my husband, we move, we dance. There's a lot of music. There's a lot of sound. There's not too much stillness, maybe apart from the mornings and the evenings. There's opportunity to groove a little. And yeah, I think movement is underrated. It's very natural. It should
mhm.
be a very natural thing that we can channel.
I
And
agree.
as yeah, certain blockages can prevent that, but once you're back in your flow, it's a beautiful thing.
I have to say also, like, I absolutely love all of the music that you have on your Instagram videos and posts. Like, I really admire you and your content because you're not like chasing all these like trendy real sounds. Like it just really feels like
Don't even know what they are.
like I just love that, like I can tell that you're choosing the songs that you actually like, and that's so powerful because I can feel that. And I'm like, like, I love this song. I'm gonna go like check this one out, Love that.
Yeah, thank you. You do actually comment, don't you, to say like, oh, I love how this feels. Like it's kind of received by you on a more than just a screen level, right? It can affect the body and yeah. Oh, that's what music does. I love it. Yeah.
It's
Can't
so
sing, can't
powerful.
play anything, but I can move along. That's all right.
I
That's
love
my
that.
contribution.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I I don't think I'm a very good singer, not to be like down on myself. I sing anyways, but whatever. It's fine. And
Yeah.
I love
But
dancing too.
singing is so new. It's like it's so soothing for the nervous system, that kind of natural vibration that it signals right through the throat. If we hum in a lowish tone, it resonates in our roots,
Mm.
in our grounding, in our feminine. And that is so powerful and so healing just to sit with yourself and gently hum. The way you'd soothe the baby, it can be really beautiful to give that medicine back to yourself.
So true, so true. To be honest with you, this year, I think it was this year or maybe last year, I just started like learning about the vagus nerve and how important it is. And I'm just curious, like, is that something that you bring into your healing with clients and with yourself? I mean, you mentioned humming, so I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, no, so the vagus nerve is it's a big primal receptor and communicator. So it's the only cranial nerve that it's the only cranial nerve that's within the body.
Mm,
But 80% of the information from the nerve is upwards from the gut to
mm,
brain.
okay.
Yeah, which is so, so powerful because this is the nerve that responds and tells us I'm hungry, I'm thirsty. Um, this is what keeps us alive. But if we're not really listening to our bodies, and we talked about this in session, didn't we? Do
Mm,
you go to the bathroom as soon as you need it? No, I'm going to finish a task for another
yeah.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
Your body doesn't feel very safe if you sit in your seat and ignore these signs. So the vagus nerve and the polyvagal theory is something that very much comes into bringing safety back into the body. And oh, it's such a wonderful thing to read up on and unlock. And yes, I do a lot of vagal toning to bring the body back online. Yeah. It's
Amazing.
fascinating, but I'm no neuroscientist. I don't love shouting about it because it's yeah, it's a tool that I use that I feel like I'm just scratching the surface, if I'm honest.
Mm. But I mean, it feels like you know a lot about it because if somebody asks me like, "Hey, what's the vagus nerve?" I'm like, I don't know, start gurgling or start humming because that's all I know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic. It links into a lot of our primitive essential connectors.
Mm,
So the more in tune and aligned and the more we're listening, the more our bodies benefit.
I love
Yeah.
that. And you know, I have to say, I don't know if this was on purpose or what, but um after our session, I shortly after I started just humming a lot. Um Specifically when I'm driving on my like I drive a motorcycle here in Cambodia, which I mean, I don't even have my real driver's license in Canada. I have a learner's permit, but I'm driving around here, and honestly, it's much more dangerous to drive here than it is in Canada. But for some reason, I feel better about it. I don't know, but anyways, I love to hum because it helps me just not be like, "What are you doing?" You know, like because there's a
Yeah,
lot
so
of.
you kind of it enables you to stay in your zone, stay
Mhm.
regulated. Yeah, it's beautifully soothing
and
throughout the body.
And I noticed because usually on Saturdays I go for a massage and then I drive home. And it's usually about like let's say like 6:30 p.m. It's kind of dusk, you know, maybe some silly drivers are coming out, you know. And I really noticed that if I don't hum on my way home, that most of the work that has been done on me is like gone, you know, because I'm like, what are
Mm.
we doing here?
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I don't know how it like came to exactly, but I know that it came shortly after our time together. So I'm going to thank you for that.
Oh yeah, great.
Yeah.
It may be that you're just a little bit more in touch with your body since
Mm,
we've begun working together in a good way.
yes.
So you may just be a little more a little bit more attuned to the activation. Oh, this traffic's driving me crazy. What can I do for me? Rather than just letting it go around in your mind and you start kind of tensing your jaw, you're going, I've got some things in the toolbox. I'm not going to
Yes.
undo this masseuse's hard work.
No way. No way. Oh, I love that. So, I want to just ask you, just out of curiosity, Peter Levine, I hope I'm saying that right, Peter Levine,
Yeah.
the somatic godfather, if you will. I have his book, but I have not read it. This is the story of my life. I have lots of ebooks that I have not read, and that's one. So tell me a little bit more about why he's the godfather. I'm just like I want to know. I'm
Like,
curious. Tell me everything that you know.
yeah, so it's his work that's to my understanding that's really brought somatic work back into the forefront in the therapy world.
Mm,
And as a new mom, I went for a mummy MOT because I had the split abs and a
okay.
few other physical things, and I just blubbed
Mm,
in this session with this physiotherapist, and she said, "I'd like to recommend a book to you." And she emailed me, and it was Waking the Tiger, Peter
mm,
Levine. And gently, gently, that was her way of saying, I think you have PTSD. And this book really beautifully explains our primal instincts and how when our safety is compromised, it creates enormous panic in the body, and that trauma lives on a loop until the cycle's broken. Through whichever intervention that is, EMDR, somatic experiencing, coming back into the body, the loop can't really be broken through just talking about trauma. So
mm,
this really is one of the scientists that's brought body-based kind of bottom-up therapy, top-down meaning you talk therapy, bottom-up meaning what does your body remember? Let's process that once we've checked in with the body into the forefront. And that's what then led me to find the somatic coach, the EMDR therapist. And yeah, I'd kind of forgotten about this physiotherapist that was just the right person at the right time, who kindly nudged me and yeah, saw my symptoms in that moment, I guess.
mm-hmm. I love that. And I'm just curious, like you said like the right person at the right time. Just do you believe in coincidences or do you think that everything is divinely led or somewhere in between? What do you think?
Ooh, I'm not sure where I sit there. I I do believe we meet everybody for a reason that we cross paths with.
Mm-hmm.
Whether there's a lesson in it for them or you or both. Yeah, she was definitely the right person at the right time because I'd felt so lost
Mm-hmm.
and she made me feel so seen. Um, which is more than coincidence, I imagine, on reflection.
Love that.
Yeah. How do you see the universe and our setups and our encounters?
For me, I'm very much that there is no coincidences. And again, this is just my opinion. Anybody can take it or leave it. But I feel like everything is happening for a reason, good or bad. And this is just this the soul's choice to incarnate at this time to have this mission to fulfill. I really believe strongly in past lives. This is something that to be honest with you, right now, like these days, I'm really on this like past lives ancestor train, if you will. Like
Mm.
I got a free trial to ancestry.com and I am like going back and who like putting all the pieces together. And, up until this point, I didn't give a darn about ancestors or I have done some like past life regressions and thought those were extremely powerful, but I didn't really go on the ancestor train, so to speak. But I kept hearing all these spiritual things like ask your ancestors, consult with your ancestors. I'm like, well, who are my ancestors? So,
Yeah.
and I guess to answer the question, I believe that it's all divine timing. and everything's just happening for a reason. And I'm not gonna, at this point in time, I'm not gonna try and decode everything. Usually it comes in hindsight, like, oh, okay, well, that makes more sense. But I feel
Yeah.
like it's easier to just go with the flow and look back and be like, oh, cool, than try and put the puzzle together. Because usually I find that when I'm trying to put the puzzle together, I seem like I'm a little bit crazy, we'll say.
Yeah. Yeah, you've just reminded me. I had my first birth chart written by read by an astrologer
Hmm.
about 12 months ago. Um, and that feels very certainly that your path's written.
Mm,
I found elements of that so profound. Um, yeah, some things have really, really stuck with me more than some of the tarot readings. I've just felt like it just seems so solid,
hmm.
like it's literally in the stars. Yeah, very powerful.
And was this in tropical astrology?
Oh, good question. I'm not sure. I'm
That's
not
okay.
sure.
There's a very good chance if it was a Western person that it was probably tropical astrology. It's the most widely practiced in the Western world.
Yeah, I would guess so. I'll have to check with her. She's yeah, she's wonderful. Somebody I went to university with.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah,
Was she into
yeah.
astrology in university?
Yeah, we're both Capricorns. Our birthdays are 2 days apart. So
Oh,
even 20 years ago, I remember having some chats about our similarities. But she's yeah, she's gone for it and she's incredible.
ooh, I love that. It's so nice to like see people grow into the people that they should be, you know what I mean? And I just I don't get to see it very often because I mean I'm not like super in touch with most people from my past, but it's just so cool that you knew someone that, now she's an astrologer. I just love that.
Yeah, we've reconnected actually. Her name's Carly Florence with a K, if anybody wanted to look her up. She's in the UK also. And I offer integration, somatic integration following her clients, kind of
So
cosmic journeys
cool.
with her. Um, because sometimes even our traumas are written in the planets.
Hmm. Hmm.
So there's things to integrate in. It's very mind blowing. And yeah, she's unbelievable.
Wow. Absolutely love that. I'll definitely have to include her name in the show notes because that sounds super cool. And I love that you guys are working together to pair it. Like, I love that when women come together and like just blow things out of the water like in a good way, you know?
Oh, me too, me too. And isn't it gorgeous when we're in a holistic and entrepreneurial world where there's it's fairly limitless in how we can show up and we can keep learning and growing and yeah, it's like the universe is our oyster.
Yes, exactly. I love that. It's so freeing to be able to, work for yourself and just be able to dictate your own time and make the change that you want to see in the world. I mean, I feel like there's no better opportunity than that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's made me feel all warm and fuzzy.
Yay!
I wanted to name Sam that some of your words had really stuck with me from my human design reading with you. Um, it was such a surprise to me that I was a projector. I did not see that coming. Um, but so many of the things you said were so somatic, so body based. And it gave me such confidence that I'm in exactly the role in the world that I should be in. And like what I said about the tarots and our readings in our first episode, like when something really clicks, you can run with it. And some of your words have just elevated my sense of purpose in the most beautiful way. Something I hold dearly, and I often do some like bilateral stimulation tapping with these words is if your body doesn't expand towards it, it's not for you.
Mm.
I just think that was so golden what you gave to me. It was
Oh.
like, yeah, it's maybe naturally it was something that I lived by anyway. Like, how did your gut respond? Like, how do you feel about it? But the way you worded, like, if your body's towards it, I know exactly how that feels, that leaning in.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I just love how you share your knowledge.
Oh, well, thank you
Very
so
powerful.
much. Thank you so much. You know, I fell in love with human design because it just like you said with your birth chart, it just kind of like, whoa, it clicked, but also it just made me realize like things are kind of like you said in the stars, so to speak. And in traditional human design, I'm also a projector, and it really landed with me because this is like the story of my life of like, I've got this great advice for you that you are going to love. And then they're like, what? I didn't ask for your advice. And I'm like, now I'm bitter about this, like, so it's something that really stuck with me a lot. And then I discovered true sidereal astrology, and then in turn human design, and it really knocked my socks off, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always kind of low key been into astrology. I remember even, I think I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I got this Cosmopolitan Taurus book, and it was all about being a Taurus. And again, I mean, I wasn't borderline then, um, technically, but also my mom clearly is. So I probably, I was without labeling it, but I was searching for an identity, and I found it in a Cosmopolitan Taurus book about how Taurus I am, and et cetera, et cetera. And
It's validating though, isn't it?
it
When you read
is.
about yourself, you're like, oh yeah, this is me.
This is me. But what really kind of shook me is that once I discovered, like, I'll just speak on astrology for a minute. When I discovered true sidereal astrology, it kind of shook me because in true sidereal astrology, the signs are different, the constellations are different sizes, and everything goes back about 24 degrees to take into account the Earth's precession, or the like wobble of the Earth. So, um, according to true sidereal astrology, my sun sign is actually in Aries. And I was like, no, no, X, I am not an Aries. But, the more I sat with it and the more I actually like looked at my chart, which for people who don't know a lot about astrology, you're so much more than your sun sign. Like that is not the full story. And the more I looked at it, I was like, okay, you know what? There's still a lot of Taurus in the chart. There's a lot of Taurus in the chart. But if I'm honest, yeah, I think Aries is actually a bit more honest because, I am a little bit fiery sometimes. I am a little bit, I don't want to say bullish, but a little bit mm, goatish. I don't know, ramish, a little bit pushy. Um, and yeah, like my moon is Taurus, so like my emotion is still very like a little bit stubborn, but also a little bit like cozy, like let's just relax. So
Mm.
I had a little bit of an identity crisis, but then I worked through it and realized that, you know what, the ego can just go to the side for a minute, and then it actually resonated a lot more. So I guess long story short, it can be really freeing to find this information, but also it can be a bit of a prison as well. Because once you start
Yeah.
identifying so hard with something, especially with BPD, it's can be a bit of a prison. And once if you somebody says, "Hey, you know what, you could get out," you're like, "No, this is very comfortable for me," but there's no
Yes.
growth in comfort, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm now curious what my other star sign may be because I only know it in the classic chart.
I'll say it out loud and then I'll send it to you. It's the website that I use and that I'm hopefully going to be doing some training under is masteringthezodiac.com. Uh,
Okay.
just or MTZ on YouTube. And yeah, it's amazing. And it's, like I said, it's a little bit shocking at first, but I kind of resent when people are like, well, it has to be this or it has to be this way and that other way is wrong because I don't think it's wrong. Like, tropical astrology, they are using a calculation that's about 2000 years old and it goes with the seasons, which is extremely powerful still. It's not wrong. It's just it's a lens that you can look at yourself through. So I feel the
Yeah.
same way about true sidereal astrology and human design is like they both have their benefits. And I feel like if you only learn about one, you're only learning half the story of yourself, really. So, yeah, for all of those diehards out there that are like, oh, it has to be tropical astrology or it has to be traditional human design or the other side, I don't know. Anyways, it's all an experiment.
Yeah. Yeah. And choose what resonates again, right? Bit of a
Exactly.
theme.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Yeah, well, Michelle, is there anything that you would like to chat about before we wrap this lovely episode up?
Oh, I don't think so. It's been so gorgeous talking and celebrating you and your amazing offering. So yeah, thank you for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And honestly, like, thank you so much for just being you. Because, like I said in the first episode, like, because you are you and the way that you hold space for other people, it's just so freeing to be in your presence. And I really have to say, like, if anybody is feeling called to just have space held for them in a way that honestly is like unlike any other person I've ever like experienced, like you're a superstar, Michelle.
Thank you so much. And yeah, it's a privilege to be here on the other side of the intense anxiety and the hypervigilance. So yeah, I always intentionally hold a nervous system friendly, welcoming space as best as I know how to.
And you're amazing at it, just so you know. So, for those listening, if anybody wants to work with Michelle or follow her amazing content and get some dance vibes and get a killer playlist from her content, you can find her on Instagram. It's soul underscore feeling underscore soul underscore healing. So soul healing with underscores in between each word. So yeah, Michelle, always a pleasure. Maybe we need to have a part three sometime because yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
just think
that'd be
you're wonderful.
gorgeous. Thank you, Sam, and thank you, anybody listening.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Bye.